Now we're ready to add our actors into their containers. Let's start at the beginning again, and we need to first click in the polar bear container or your first actor container so that we are telling Flash when I add this image I want it to be in this container. Going to the library, we want to find our actor, and it's the polar bear. And we can drag our polar bear from the library and onto the stage. Now our polar bear is a little bit on the big side, so let's go to our free transform tool so that we can resize it. Now with the transform tool, we can do some interesting things with our image. If we're not careful, we can get a very different image. That may be something that you're okay with. If not, we can Command Z to undo that. And in order to resize it proportionally, hold down the Shift key while you are dragging, and then we get our polar bear keeping the same shape, which is probably what we want. We can also, with the free transform tool, if we move the cursor just close to the corners, any corner, we get a rotate icon, and that means we can click and rotate our object. So maybe you want to do that. If not, Apple Z. The rotation is around this anchor point, and we can actually click on that anchor point and move it. So if you want to move your object, make sure you don't click on the anchor point, because that will move instead of your object. Click somewhere other than the anchor point to move your object. But now if I rotate, and it's better if I'm further away from my anchor point, it rotates around that anchor point. That can be useful. It's mostly used if you're going to animate something rotating and you want it to rotate around a particular point, because you can even move that anchor point off of your object, and when you rotate, it rotates from that point. But I'm going to put everything back to normal. When you put your actor on the stage, even if you're planning on having them move, just put them somewhere where they look good to start, and then we can worry about any movement later on. We're not going to worry about that right now. And we can tell that our polar bear went into the correct container because our container is gray and the keyframe has gone solid. Let's go to our eagle container and find our eagle and drag our eagle on. Again, our eagle is a bit too big. We still have our transform tool selected, so that's great. Hold down the Shift key, make our eagle a little bit smaller, and again, we'll just kind of put the eagle there for now. And we can see that our eagle got put in the right spot. Moving on to our canoe, click in our canoe container, very important. And since the canoe is our animated image, we want to again use the movie clip version of it. So if you have a couple of them, click on them to see what they look like, because symbol 161 certainly isn't very helpful. And we'll grab our canoe and put it on. And the canoe definitely will be moving, but I'll just put them sort of in a starting position, and we'll deal with that later. And again, we can see that our canoe got put in the right container. Moving on, again we have our eagle. So we'll go get our eagle again. And I think I want the eagle even smaller this time. And our Lake Ontario. Now our Lake Ontario is text, so we're going to leave that just for the moment because there's a separate movie on adding text. Just do images for now. There we go. And if you like, you can play it
around 20,000 years ago
and see what your movie looks like with your actors. But for now, File menu and save.